Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sir Cliff Richard! No, you don't. You look amazing. I just have to tell you that Cliff knew nothing about that video. No. And he knows nothing about what's going to happen in the next hour. So trust me, it's going to be a very, very happy ride. I promise you that.
And a long time.
Now, before we get going, what we need is a microphone. So I just need, from over there, a microphone for Sir Cliff, please. Thank you very much. So you are on a mic at all times. Now, before we start the chats, which he still doesn't know anything about, Caroline Monk, who we all know and love, and is it working? Can we have a mic that works, please? We'd quite like to hear from Cliff. There we go, let's try. He's never used a mic before.
Louder.
Do you know what? Come and stand with this one for now, and we'll get another one for you. So before we start with all the chat and some more surprises, Caroline Monk, who we all know and love as Monkey, is a very, very special, amazing young lady, and Malcolm, they're both coming back onto the stage to present you with something very special. Oh. Monkey and Malcolm.
What a shame. Still Malcolm.
Yeah, still Malcolm, just Malcolm. Can we go back 60 years, you're just Cliff?
Pardon?
Can you go back 60 years and you're just Cliff?
I can go back 60 years, I can go back.
To the beginning of your career?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Cliff, it's a great privilege to ask you and for you to accept to become an ambassador, a celebrity ambassador for Variety, for all the work you've done for us tonight, for everybody who's been marvellous and supporting this charity because of you, sir. And so I'd like Caroline to... I called you Carol before. I was in deep trouble. So Caroline, I'd like you, please, Sir Cliff, to accept this certificate on behalf of Variety, and we thank you so much.
This mic's not too loud.
Oh, it's not bad. Okay.
Right.
This is much louder.
Yeah, why don't we do these? We'll stick. Look, you have that one, I'll have that one.
Okay.
There we go, we'll share them like that.
Radio.
Thank you, Malcolm. I think he wants to sing. Malcolm, did you want to stay and sing? No, for a minute. No, everyone's saying no. Everyone's saying no. Okay, so don't look at this because those are all your surprises, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right, don't look. So, we're going to start with two very special people. If we may, please have to tell us some stories and to share some wonderful memories. Bruce and Brian!
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Oh, yes. Up they come. There we go. Gentlemen. So now I know both of you want to share. Your mics, they're working.
Are they working?
They're working.
They're not loud enough, but they're working.
Can we have them louder, please? I think everybody wants
the hand mic.
There we go.
Hello.
There we go. So, gentlemen, how do you know the man to my left?
Well, we're very shy, aren't we, Brian?
You are?
Yeah, I am. How do I know him? Well, in September of 1958, Hank and I were playing in a little place in Soho called the Two Eyes Coffee Bar. And we had come to London from Newcastle, Hank and I, straight from school. And we arrived in April of 58. And about a week after I arrived with Hank, for some reason, probably for a meal, I was selling orange juice downstairs in the basement of the Two Eyes. And on stage was Cliff and his drifters, his friends, the drifters. And Hank wasn't there that night, and I went back to our dump in Finsbury Park. And I said there was an amazing guy in tonight. He looked like Elvis. He had the sideburns and all that stuff, you know. And that was April. And in September, we met Cliff. His manager came into the Two Eyes looking for a guitarist. And Hank happened to be there, great, fantastic player. And we went up to a tailor's shop in Dean Street in Soho. And there he was. Now, Hank and I were 16. He was a much older man, of course. He was 17, standing like this. He was being fitted for that pink jacket. You remember that famous pink jacket?
That famous pink jacket, yeah.
Yeah. And we had more spots than he did. But we got through it, didn't we? And we went back to his home in Cheshunt, where his mum and dad and his 3 sisters, and we had an audition in the front room. Remember the front room? If you're from the north, like I am, you have a front room which either you're laid out in, or occasionally, you know, you'd get invited. Anyway, we had a rehearsal. This was about the 3rd week of September, and he said, I've got a tour starting in October, and he said it's for 3 weeks. And Hank and I joined Cliff's Drifters, and here we are nearly 61 years later. Brian is hello. Brian, of course, is the new boy. He's only been with us for 59 years. So
I didn't know any of that. No, I didn't know any of that. I was a house drummer at the Two Eyes, if you remember, and you came down and the boys came down, and I joined the band in '61. Yeah. And started writing and playing the drums and had a great time. I think we saw the best of times for rock and roll, quite honestly.
I would agree with that.
But it's wonderful that you two are here tonight. And if we may, we'd like to look at the screens one more time. A message from somebody who actually can't be here tonight.
Oh, no!
Greetings from Australia. Look, we so much wanted to be there with you on this special occasion, but I couldn't get any cheap flights. Anyway, in which case, I've decided to send you this short message. Anyway, Cliff, just thinking about your career, 60 years, that is remarkable. 60 years, and you're only 35, amazing. 60 years of how many hit records? Almost countless. Hit movies, TV shows, stage shows in the West End, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you know, I was thinking about all of this the other day and reflecting on our first tour, which was back in October 1858. And I'm sure you remember that very first gig, which was in excuse me for name dropping, the Hanley Victoria Hall. What a wild first show that was. It was amazing, and the screaming was deafening. Although in fairness to Bruce, he hadn't taken his medication. By the way, if Bruce and Brian are there, do you mind if I say hello to them? Hello, Bruce. Hello, Brian. If they're not there, of course. So, Cliff, on that first tour, I think we all realized very quickly that you had something special. That something special which now we call the X Factor. Not to be confused, of course, with Max Factor, that's quite different. And of course that led to this remarkable career you've had. But one aspect of your career was the amount of time and energy you put into charitable works, for which you have been quite rightly recognized. But something which impressed me personally was your work ethic, in the sense that you put so much time and energy into trying to develop and improve your talent. It didn't work, but you tried, which was commendable, I thought. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go now, which you're probably glad about. I'm going to have to go and throw another emu on the Barbie, but before I do, I'd just like to hit a note of seriousness. which has been sadly lacking so far. Cliff, I've worked with you very closely on and off over the years from those early days. And I've always been impressed by your good manners, by the way you've treated fans and others with respect and dignity. And seriously, the hard work you've put into developing your talent. You've deserved every minute of that 60 years of success. So Cliff, for me it's been a pleasure and a privilege indeed to have you as a colleague and as a friend. So have a great day.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh. Apologies for that abrupt ending, but that was a wonderful message. So we've got the chaps here on stage. Can I ask you for your memories of that time?
My memories?
Yes, of that, because it was such a special time. I suppose summer holiday. Now that was something that we all took to our hearts. The song, the film, the time. Was it as magical as it looked?
Yes, it was. I mean, when we were actually making some of the, and Una's here, I remember when we were doing Wonderful Life.
She's actually going to come on stage in a moment. Yes, yes.
Was that? Oh, that was one of the surprises.
That was one of your surprises. No, that's fine.
No, but she knows what I'm about to say. When we were making those movies, it seemed impossible that we were actually being paid to do this. We were having the most fantastic time. The guys had written music that has become kind of, well, it's just memories for everybody. So it was an absolutely magical time. And I still can't believe that when I did Summer Holiday, I think I got paid 1,200 quid.
Really?
Yeah, and then when I tried to use some of the shots for my shows, they were charging so much money I couldn't afford them. But it was a very magical time because, again, musicals, we were not planning to be in movies. I had done Serious Charge and Espresso Bongo, and what I loved about it was that it said on the credits, introducing Cliff Richard. And I thought, this is the way I should go. I should never be the star of the show. Because sometimes if you're the star of a movie and the movie gets bad critique, you're the one that takes whatever hits the fan. And I thought I would just be a B-lister. But unbeknownst to us, the young ones came along. We did that, and it became one of the first successful British musicals. So I can't tell you, it was just all magical and totally unexpected. The whole thing was unexpected. And Hank is right. I mean, they used to write us off as one-hit wonders. And also there was a phrase I remember, here today and gone tomorrow. And when we did that 10th year album, the established 58, that's when it hit me that rock and rollers could have longevity. But Hank's right, though. He mentioned hard work. I think if you go for longevity, you have to do everything all the time to the best of your ability. But magic. Thank you.
Well, you've just mentioned her. Can we have Una Stubbs on the stage as well, please? Yes, please. Up on the stage as well.
Come on, young lady. Shimmy on.
So lovely to have you up here as well. No, Cliff, it's all about you, so please stay with all of your friends. Come here, come over here. So we're just hearing about it. I think, if it's all right, can we play a clip from would everybody like to see a bit? Come on.
We're going where the sun shines brightly. We're going where the sea is blue. We've seen it in the movies. Now let's see if it's true.
Summer holiday. I knew they'd want to sing. Look, they're carrying on singing. I love this. They're discussing. Oh, do you remember that bit? Do you remember that bit? So, Una, your memories from that?
Yes. One thing I do remember is when we finished filming Summer Holiday, we'd all got back to England and we decided to go out for a meal in Covent Garden. And on our way back, the old Covent Garden, that used to be, and after we'd had our meal, we were walking through Covent Garden and somebody saw me and one of the workmen said, "Oh, it's Una Stubbs. Hello, you, now you." And then we carried, but they didn't say anything about Cliff. And so he kept on we were laughing. He kept on walking back and forth, going, got to walking, da da dee da da. And then we heard one of the workmen say, that bloke that was with them, that looked a bit like Cliff Richard, except he was a bit fat.
Oh, sorry. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Bruce, Brian, and Una Stubbs, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Cliff, the next surprise we have for you on this stage. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please welcome Paul Gambacinni? Woo! Paul, over here. Over to you, sir.
Well, I just want you to know that my first variety club dinner was in the 70s, and the tux still fits. I'm so thrilled to be here with Britain's most successful solo male vocalist in singles ever. But one thing that I love about it is, of course, over the course of a career, you come up with the stats and the anecdotes, which a chartologist like me freaks out about. You may remember I present the Ivor Novello Awards, the annual songwriting awards. They're 64 years old. I've presented them for 32 years, which proves that I am half the man that Ivor Novello was. But the only time that there was an award presented to someone other than a songwriter was to you. Do you remember that Ivor Novello Award?
Yes, I do.
And it was given by grateful songwriters because Cliff had had 10 number ones with their songs. And one of my favorite anecdotes followed shortly thereafter with Millennium Prayer, because it won the Ivor Novello Award for Best-Selling A-Side of the Year. But we couldn't present it that year because there was a songwriting dispute. And when I announced that there was a songwriting dispute for Millennium Prayer, which of course is a combination of the Lord's Prayer and Auld Lang Syne, someone said, "Is Jesus claiming copyright?" But in fact, they were two mere mortals who were fighting it out, and ultimately there was a solution, and the next year we gave the award. But that was the source of your greatest frustration. You heard Michael Parkinson make a reference that Cliff has had number ones in 5 decades. He came that close to having a number one in a 6th decade. Shall we explain what happened there?
Well, I feel that the record company jumped the gun a little because, yes, I was looking to have my number one of the noughties, having had one of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And when they told me what date they were going to release it, I said, no, that's just a little too early. You know, even if we get to number one, we won't be able to stay there long enough. And in actual fact, I was number one for 3 weeks. Had they waited 1 week, I'd have been number one at Christmas, and the number one Christmas record is held till January the 1st. So I'll always blame them, but I can't change the fact that I was thrilled that it sold 1.3 million in 5 weeks. So it's still a wonderful, for me, it's a wonderful record, and I chose to do it because no one seemed to have a millennium theme anywhere. And although it is the Lord's Prayer, it doesn't mention God, it doesn't mention Jesus, but it does mention the approach we should have to each other. Please forgive us. Help us to forgive other people. Feed us. It had all the messages I thought that we needed to hear for a new millennium. So I was very happy to record it. I'm still slightly itchy about not making that number one, but it's not too bad these days.
And there is, of course, one other subject I must raise, and that is your success in America, which some people still think you never had, just because you never had a number one in America. But in fact, Cliff has had 3 top 10s.
2.
No, there's one that nobody ever remembers.
Nor me.
Dreamin' got to number 10. See, everybody remembers Devil Woman and We Don't Talk Anymore, but Dreamin' got to number 10. Did it? Yes, and nobody ever remembers it. It's amazing. And of course, you also had success with the Olivia duet, Suddenly, and early on, Liv and Doll made the top 30, and a version of It's All in the Game, your version of It's All in the Game. Yeah. And subsequently, Daddy's Home. So the thing which I'm now going to leave you with as a transition is the wonderful success with Devil Woman. And you saw Elton earlier on the screen, and it was Elton who released the I'm Nearly Famous project on Rocket Records in America, and it was a tremendous success. Devil Woman got to number 6. And recently, we had the very amusing experience of seeing the film I, Tanya, which is about the ice skater. And as you may remember, it won a couple of Academy Awards. And in the film, the ice skater, Tonya Harding, is shown skating to Devil Woman, doing one of her routines. And this was very exciting for Cliff until the very end. Can you remind them what happened in the credits?
Yes, I was watching it because I'm a member of BAFTA, and it was one of the films that I would have to vote on. And so we watched it, and of course I got the shock of my life when the first minute and a half was Devil Woman with this woman skating around to it. And when it was all over, we were absolutely quite impressed. And in fact, I voted for her mother as Best Supporting Actress, and she did win it, so I got something right. But I said to my friends, please, do not switch it off yet. I just want to see my name at the end. You know when they bring all the music and who wrote what and who sang what? And sure enough, there it says, Devil Woman, sung by Cliff Richards. I can't believe that the record company would allow them to do that, but it's a little thing. It just made me laugh at the time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been one of the greatest thrills of my life to know as a man, a person we've always known as an artist, a great man and a great artist, Cliff Richards.
On. I love you, baby.
Well, that was fabulous, Paul. Thank you. Well, I don't know if I possibly. What do you think? Should we get Cliff to sing? Paul just mentioned Devil Woman. Could we have a bit of that?
Yeah, we could. But I would really like this mic much louder.
Yeah, can we have it louder, please?
I think they thought Pavarotti was coming.
It's the one and only Sir Cliff Richard, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I must just tell you, though, Paul's right. I did have some other hits, but when it comes down to it, I had no idea that Dreaming had got a number 10. But in my whole career, really, I consider myself as only having 2 hits in the States. And what's thrilled me was I did an article recently, and the journalist told me, he said they'd done a survey, and the biggest selling artists on the planet are, number 1, Elvis Presley, number 2, the Beatles, and number 3, me.
Yes!
He told me that, and then he said, are you disappointed? I said, disappointed in being number 3 to Elvis and the Beatles? No. And what makes me feel really good, though, even though he has quoted some records that have entered as a top 30, I got to number 3 without this biggest market on the planet. I never really made it. And let me tell you something. I was walking through in Fort Lauderdale past a hotel that has a cafe on the outside, and I walked by and I thought, this woman's recognized me. But I walked by, when I came back, she was still there, and she went like this. So I walked up to her, and it turns out, she said to me, I know who you are. And I said, well, who am I? She said, you are Cliff Richard. And I said, I'm not. She said, you are? I said, I'm not. She said, of course you are. I said, I am not. She said, listen, I have been a fan of yours all my life. I recognize you. You are Cliff Richard. So I gave in and said, yes, I am. She said, you're not, are you? They don't really know me over there. But I love it. I love going there because I have a very ordinary life. If I want to be famous, I can come home. But it's been a fantastic career. And in fact, Devil Woman was produced for me by Bruce. And I can remember when we use high-tech stuff nowadays, and Bruce said, I'm going to play the track, and can you sing along with it? I don't know if you remember this. He's the king of the one-liners. I sang a lot. She said, the devil woman, did all that business. And when it finished, he says, okay, very good. Now I'm going to play it again. This time, can you sing it in the same key as the track? Okay, so this is it. If you've got, I'm having to work with backing tracks. I didn't have time to rehearse with bands and things like that. So if you forgive me for a backing track, here we go. This is Devil Woman.
You sing.
I've had nothing but bad luck since the day I saw the cat and my dog. So I came into you, sweet lady, answering your mystical call. Crystal ball on the table, showing the future, the past. Satan got with them evil eyes, and I knew it was a spell she cast. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you from behind. Give me the ring on your finger and let me see the lines on your hands. I can see me a tall dark stranger giving you what you had in plan. I drank the potion she offered me. I found myself on the floor. Then I looked in those big green eyes, and I wonder what I gave them for. Yeah, she's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you from behind. From behind. Stay away. Look out. If you're out on a moonlit night, be careful of them neighborhood strays. Of a lady with long black hair trying to win you with her feminine ways. Crystal ball on the table, showing the future, the past. Same gap with them evil eyes. You better get out of there fast. Woo. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she'll get you. She'll get you. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you.
You are fantastic. You really are. Please come back and join me, Cliff. The next surprise for you, sir. Come back here, please. Right. I hope that song wasn't referring to who I'm about to introduce.
It's probably about all the women I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gloria Hunniford. Gloria.
I am shorter than everybody in the room, so I have to bend the microphone. I just want to say, what a fabulous night and what a fabulous tribute, and as everybody said on the screen, really worthy. But I got a bit of excitement, and I think all of you did as well, when Andrew Lloyd Webber said that he might cast Cliff as the next Joseph. Now, we all want to see him in the loincloth.
What? I was I was tempted to shout out, I'm available but not cheap.
And you've got a sort of a sparkly loincloth to wear as well, haven't you? That you keep in your wardrobe. Girls, don't get too excited yet.
Which could be auctioned later.
Oh, that's true, particularly if you wore it. Anyway, I'm very glad that Cliff did sing Devil Woman, because there is a story that he told me some time back. As you already mentioned, you didn't quite break every record in America, but he was in the Barbers in New York once, and he was having his hair cut. And so the guy, I won't be able to do the accent, but the guy said, "Hey, bud, where are you from?" So we said, "London." So we said, "Hey, what do you do there? What do you do there? Do you work?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm a singer." He said, a real singer? And, I mean, do you sing out a bit? And he said, "I do." "Do you make any money at it?" He said, "Yes, I do." So he said, "Have you made a record?" Cliff said, "Yes, I have." He said, "Did it do all right?" He said, "Yeah, did all right, actually." So he said, "Would I know it?" So Cliff went, "She's just a devil woman." And then the guy went, "With evil on her mind." And so he finished the first stanza. And then he said, "What's your name?" So he said, "Cliff Richard." "Never heard of you," he said. Which I love. But I just want to say I have been privileged to know Cliff for 50 years. I know we don't look old enough, but that's true. 50 years. And it has been a great privilege because, as those of you who know him, he makes not only a fabulous, loyal friend, but he's just a really wonderful man. I mean, just fantastic. And I think you would all agree with that. He's loyal. He's so truthful. And as I say, he makes a wonderful friend. And it has been a privilege, Cliff, so thank you. But I went down to the Naval College last week with my husband, Stephen, and we went to the concert. And I said to Cliff afterwards, "Were you all there?" And I really mean this. I sort of thought that I've never heard Cliff sing so well. It was fantastic. And a lot of the fans are here tonight. I can sing. Okay, all stand up. All the fans stand up. Come on. Stand up if you're a big fan and have been for a long time. Yay! Anyway, it was wonderful, and I sort of act as an unofficial postmistress for Cliff because they know I've known him for a while, so I get all the letters and I send them on to Tanya. But this particular note literally came the other day, and I have to read it because, in a way, it sums up the love and loyalty that people have for Cliff and the good and the joy that he brings. Because she started off, I have to do the serious bit first. She said, "We have always, always followed Cliff. And we go to all his concert underlined. We have a family who've had a really, really hard couple of years. My husband has had bowel cancer, and 2 weeks after my son was only 29, getting married in September, has had testicular cancer. Now, she said, they're both great, but in the same week it was all diagnosed, and it was the worst time ever our family had. So she said, they're both doing well, thank God. But as Mum and I were watching Cliff at the particular concert I'm talking about, she said, I couldn't help but think that it was the first time in ages that we were both happy, laughing, and smiling and feeling good. So she said, I know that you and Cliff have known each other for a long time, that's okay, I've said that. So she said, I wanted to ask you to pass on our thanks for all the joy and enjoyment and love that he has given my mum and me. And she said, I was only 12 when I first saw him, and now I'm 52. He has given so much hope and so much love to everybody. I think that sums it up. God bless you.
Thank you, Gaby.
Thanks very much. Thank you, everybody, and isn't it a wonderful night? Yes, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gloria Hunniford. That's the thing about you, Cliff. I'm very lucky that I know you in real life and that we're friends in real life. I've just got to tell you my little story, if I may. I got a little bit tipsy one night. Yeah, abroad. And do you know what? He was so lovely. I was so embarrassed because I was a bit drunk. And the next day, Cliff just looked at me and said, you know what, Gaby? Everybody gets affected by the sunshine. The sweetest man, I adore him to pieces. Right, next person up on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jasper Carrott. Jasper, please. Now, you're going to talk to us about tennis. Shh.
Yes. Well, first, I mean, it is a privilege to be here tonight. It's like my life has flashed by me because people I haven't seen for 15, 20 years. And we've all aged so well. In fact, if there is anybody under 21 in the room, they must think they're in one giant care home. But we go back a long way. Like most people in the room, I first met Cliff through a charitable event. Because obviously you do so many. But you put on those fantastic charities, and we met. You were doing a charity for the destitute entertainers of Birmingham, and there's only one recipient, and bloody was I grateful. But he put on the most fantastic tennis charities you've ever been involved with. Yeah? And year after year, he used to put about, 12, 13, 14,000 people into the NIA in Birmingham, charity tennis, and he invited people like myself to play tennis with Virginia Wade, Tim Henman, Sue Barker, Andrew Castle, and of course I was there to faff about. But what you don't know about Cliff, and he is a brilliant straight man, because we were doing all the comedy, himself and a couple of other guys, and he was brilliant. He used to play along with it all, and we used to cover him in shaving foam and spray string and buckets of water and exploding tennis balls, and he played it with a straight face like you can't believe. And I said to him, Cliff, we could be the new Morecambe and Wise. And he said, well, which one will I be? And I said, well, you can't be Eric, not with that bloody hair. But we had the most fantastic time. And there was a moment in one of these tennis players, about the tennis dudes, about the second or third time. And he used to do these fabulous Christmas things and carols and sing songs. And of course, I played the guitar. And brilliantly, I have to say that, because I used to practice as a kid, and neighbours used to throw bricks through the window so they could hear better. And we got up on stage, and he said, what do you want to play? I said, how about singing the blues? And he went, yeah, I know that. So I played it in A, sang it in C, and what threw Cliff was I was singing the lyrics to Bachelor Boy. And he said, bloody hell, Carrott, I'm glad you're a comedian. And I said, thanks, Cliff, that's the best compliment I've ever been paid in my life. And then, not only that, but we used to do that on a Saturday night, and then I used to do these shows called Jasper Carrott's Christmas Cracker. And it was at the NEC in Birmingham, and we'd have about 12, 13,000 people. But the thing was, nobody knew who was coming on stage. It was a complete secret, and we used to keep it a complete secret. All people knew was that I was the compere, and I would introduce different people. And we had fantastic people. We had Victoria Beckham, we had Roger Daltrey, but this guy did it twice. And he comes, and when I introduced him, I said, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Cliff Richard? There was this sort of small ripple of applause, because nobody thought it would be him. And when he came on, the blooming applause went on for about 2 minutes, which is a long time on stage. And you got on there with your guitar, sang about 20 minutes, brought the place down, and then sodded off. But I'll never forget that. And you're just a shining light for everybody, Cliff, really. And I'm proud to be your friend. Yeah.
Jasper, thank you. How about, shall we get Sir Cliff to sing again? Go on, Cliff, please. Thank you so much. Cliff Richard, everybody.
I released an album last year, just before Christmas. And I was really thrilled when on 2nd of January, my manager emailed me and said, I got good news. Your DVD is #1, and your album has gone gold. But let's get the perspective right. Bruce, Brian, and those of us, Hank, of a certain generation, know that when you get a gold disc, it used to be a million seller.
Do you know what?
What?
You're going to sing, I know what you're going to sing. Can we save that for the next one? And can we do another one first? Can we do We Don't Talk Anymore? Can we?
Yeah, because that comes back, because those are the times when we
Can we do that? Would you like to? Can we do that?
Yeah, sure.
Lovely.
No, but I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say that we come from a generation where you had to sell 1 million records to get gold. And just to underline how bad the situation is in our industry, 100,000 gets you gold. People don't seem to buy records anymore. We Don't Talk Anymore, as in with Devil Woman, was produced by Brucey. Bruce has great ears. He can hear a hit from 100 yards. And so therefore, if we're changing this, guys, can you play We Don't Talk Anymore? Anytime you like. Used to think that life was sweet. Used to think we were so complete. I can't believe you throw it away. Used to feel we had it made. Oh, used to feel we could sail away. Can you imagine how I feel today? Well, it seems a long time ago you were the lonely one, and now it comes to letting go. You are the only one. Do you know what you've done? All together now. It's so funny how we don't talk anymore. It's so funny why we don't talk anymore. But I ain't losing sleep. I ain't got the sheep. Oh no, it's so funny how we don't talk anymore. We don't talk. We don't talk. Well, it really doesn't matter to me. I guess your leaving was meant to be. It's down to you now. You wanna be free. I hope you know which way to go when you're the only one. Don't come crying to me when you're the only one. Remember what you've done. Whoa, whoa, we're so funny how we don't talk anymore. It's so funny why we don't talk anymore. But I ain't losing sleep. Ain't got sheep. It's so funny how we don't talk anymore. Sleep, it got sheep. No, 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 no. It's so funny how we don't talk anymore.
Whoa!
Wow. Goodness me. Would you like a glass of water?
A brandy would do.
You really are, you're incredible. Okay, the next person we'd like to invite onto this stage, none other than Tarby himself. Jimmy Tarbuck, everyone.
How are you, mate? Any volume on this?
Can we have some sound on there for Jimmy Tarbuck,
Hello?
please?
Hello. As our star tonight has said, I went on tour in 1958, and there were two great rock and roll songs, and they're the best rock and roll songs we've ever had. One was Move It, and one was Johnny Kidd's Shaking All Over. And they have just stood the test of time. And I'm thrilled to be here tonight for one simple reason. When you saw that video early on, it was the only time I was thinner than you. And you've let yourself go, all that boozing and, I really can't understand it, for God's sake. Yep, there he is, our boy wonder, and a star. When they say star in our business, it's put on people who really don't deserve it, and legends. This guy, I was on tour with him there. Not Brian, you weren't in the band at that time, and they were called the Drifters. Yep. And then they had to stop that because of the American Drifters, and they became the Shats. And we had a lot of fun in Joe Lee's coach. The coach, Joe Lee's coach. I can honestly tell you that's the first time that man there, God bless him, got laid. But anyway, that is another, I daren't tell you anything. I said, no, please, for God's sake, don't laugh at things like that, for God's sake. And there we go, and he's told a great story about being recognized. And what's it like when people say hello to you? It's lovely. They're always polite. And dear Pauline, my wife of 60 years in 3 weeks' time, she went shopping in Safeways last week, and years ago, when I got a few bob, I bought this bloody number plate, comic, COM1C. And she's in the car park the other day at Safeways, and this rather tough came up. May I ask you something? Is that Jimmy Tarbuck's number plate? And she said, yes, it is. He said, oh, are you his widow? I was bloody furious. Yeah. But I've been very lucky. I've worked on the Palladium with him. I've worked on many royal shows with you. And I can think of 2 knighthoods that were given to singers in my industry. I think of several that should never have been given. But the 2 I can think of are Harry Seacombe and Cliff Richard. This life he had was all he had, and the life he had, it's yours. But the love he's had for the life he's had, it's yours, and it's yours, and it's yours. You know, I salute you, I admire you, and I'll support you whenever you need me.
Oh.
That was quite something.
I'm finding it all a little bit. It's a little bit emotional to hear people speak about me like this, because I can't recognize me at all in all of that. But it's great to have you all here, and I'm so grateful that you came, and I'm grateful for the words that you've spoken. Thank you so much. Oh, may I take one? Jimmy, something happened to me in France, which is similar to the story you told. I was there with some friends, and they said, we got a favorite restaurant. So we went there, and the maitre d' showed us to a table. And then he moved over to a table on the wall on the other side of the room. And I saw him talking, and you know, you get used to when people spot you. And he looked up, and he just went, And they pointed. But he talked again, and then he walked over to us. He said, hello. What is your name? So I said, my name is Cliff Richard. He said, no, he must be dead now. That reminded me of that. Because in France, they stopped playing records by other artists from other nations quite a long time back. Apparently, they only paid 25% of foreign work. So all the work I had done prior to that, this guy must have remembered it from way back and thought I was gone.
Well, I'm so pleased you haven't, and long may you continue. Really, I mean it. I'm very lucky in my over 30 years of in this industry. Over the years in television and radio, I've interviewed you. I respect you. I adore you. You're a good, kind human being. You have the biggest heart, and you do so much for charity. And I think you are really incredible and very special. And I really do adore you to pieces. And one of my very first interviews I ever did in this industry was with Cliff. And so for me, it's been a real honor to be able to stand up here. But it means I get to introduce you to your last song. Was that all right? Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Cliff Richard.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I was about to do this song when, of course, Gaby got me to change route. But I did release an album last year, and it did go gold. And the first single that came from it was written by the man who wrote Devil Woman. Terry Britton wrote this song. And for me, it was very specific, and it meant a great deal to me. The lyrics meant a great deal to me. As you know, I did have a 4-year period of terrible, terrible sleepless nights, and it was just horrific. And when that passed and I got a chance to sing this song, it allowed me to express a feeling that I hadn't been able to put into music. Anyway, this is called Rise Up. Yeah, yeah. All my life I've been a dreamer. Yeah. Some might say a lucky one. Oh. For every dream come true, many come undone. But I know, yes I know. Yesterday the clouds were darkest. Yeah, I could not see the end of it. No, no. But something inside of me never learned to quit. And I know, yes I know. Rise up. They're never gonna break me down. Rise up. They're never gonna take me down. Rise up. You know I'm gonna rise up feeling stronger. Rise up. And even when the night is long, rise up. The light of love is burning strong. Rise up. You know I'm gonna rise up even stronger. I see your walls taking a shaking. I know that lost look in your eyes. I see the mess that this whole world is making. But I know, yes I know. Rise up. They're never gonna break you down. Rise up. Don't ever let them take you down. Rise up. I know you're gonna rise up feeling stronger. Rise up. And even when the night is long, rise up. The light of love is burning strong. Rise up. I know we're gonna rise up even stronger. Without love, time is wasted. Without love, we lose the taste for life and living. Love's a gift we are given to survive. Rise up. Yeah, yeah. Never stay down. Woo. Rise up. They're never gonna break us down. Rise up. Don't let them ever take us down. Rise up. You know we're gonna rise up feeling feeling stronger.
Rise up.
And even when the night is long,
Rise up.
the light of love is burning strong.
Rise up.
I know we're gonna rise up feeling stronger.
Rise up.
They're never gonna break me down.
Rise up.
They're never gonna take me down.
Rise up.
You know I'm gonna rise up feeling stronger. Don't let them get you down.
Rise up.
Yeah.
Rise up.
You know I'm gonna rise up even stronger.
Thanks to you, the Children Tomorrow Variety, we've raised over 120,000.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Sir Cliff Richard is about to return to his table. Why don't we give him another round of applause, our guest of honour, Sir Cliff Richard.